about this team. So what does this team, when you hear different contexts, common aspiration, what does it mean to you? What do you think when it comes to your mind? Anybody, just drop in the chat box quickly so we can move on. Are we together? We need to make this really, really interactive. Please, anybody. Why are we not responding? Energy, please let me see our responses. The theme for this year's National Youth Day is different context, common aspiration. So what does it mean to you when you hear the word, when you hear the topic? What does it mean to you? People went for events on the 12th. So what did you hear when you went out for this event? Let's get it now, please. Anybody? All right, no problem. Different context, common aspiration is simply telling us that although we are from different backgrounds, we have different challenges, we all still have the aspiration that are like, we want to see how we can make the world a better place. We want to see how we can have access to education, regardless of where we are coming from, gender equality, and every other good thing that comes to the SDGs. So that is why we are here today, to see how we can discuss further on this. And our first speaker for today is no other than our own, the amiable Mama Raquel, right? So her name is Raquel Daniel, and she'll be taking us first, taking the first topic today, and her focus is on volunteering, right? So thank you, Gloria. So her name is Raquel Kashim Daniel, right? And she's an award-winning Nigerian social entrepreneur. She's an educator, an author, and social impact leader with over a decade of experience advancing education, gender equality, youth development, and community transformation. She's the founder she's the founder and executive director of Beyond the Classroom Foundation and Voluserve, a platform that connects people who want to volunteer to organizations, and then people that have positions who can also volunteer with them. Right. So through her work, she has developed education, focused innovations, authored children's books, and created platforms that connect volunteers with meaningful social causes, contributing significantly to the achievement of the SDGs. So can we give her a big, big round of applause? She's here already. We would give her the floor now to speak to us. And again, her team is volunteering the key to greatness. So if you know that you've been here or you've always wanted to do volunteering, but you're not sure how to go about it, this very session is for you. So please, if you have a pen and paper, if you don't have one, please bring it close to you. Start jotting down points on how to volunteer. So let's give it one more time for our guest, Mrs. Raquel Daniel Kashim. Thank you so much, Ma. The floor is yours now. Thank you so much. The next 10 minutes is going to be really, really amazing. So let's listen and follow through. Thank you so much, Ma.
Okay, can you see me now and hear me?
Yes, we can see you and can hear you clearly.
Okay, I've been trying to come in with my laptop, but I'm not sure you've been getting my request, so I'll just try with my phone.
Oh, okay.
But it's fine. I'll manage with my phone. Yeah, I hope it works. If this
We can
works, it's
actually
fine.
see you clearly. Do you?
Okay. Just be sure that if you give me 2 minutes, can you accept my laptop? Because if a call comes in, it will cut me off. Is it possible to do that?
All right, but I can't see the request yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's showing me waiting. Okay, I'll just continue with this one.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Okay. Is it the same name as your phone?
Yes, it's just RKD.
Okay, but I can't
Yes,
see
you just see it. Okay, then maybe it's just my internet on my computer. I'll just use this one.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I'll just use this one.
Thank you so much.
So thank you again for the invitation. I really count this a privilege to have to talk about things that I really care about, i.e. youth development, issues around the girl child, issues around children, and now most importantly around volunteering, because I've seen how volunteering has completely changed my own perspective of leadership and my life. So I'll be talking about how volunteering is the key to greatness. And I've seen a few books. One of the books I just recently reread, I read a couple of years ago, is by a friend of mine called Simisola, and he says, volunteer your way to the top. And a lot of people know that service is one of the ways, if not the one of the ways that you can use to go to the top. So you need to serve to find your way to the top. It's a well-known principle, and principles that people have used all over the world, and people have been using it till today. And that's one of the principles that I stand by, to say, if you want to get to the top, you have to serve your way to the top. So, and volunteering is not just about giving your time, it's about giving also your skill. And I will explain in a way. A lot of times, young people think that when they volunteer, all they are doing is free labor. But if someone puts up a volunteering opportunity and you apply, you feel like you have something to give, it means that you know that you are useful. And then the person has an opportunity, and the person puts it out there, and the person expects people who are useful or have something useful to give to apply. So I like to always tell young people that if you are called on or called upon or given the opportunity to volunteer, is because you are useful. Someone who is useless would not be used. So when you are useful, and your usefulness is used in a volunteering opportunity, or your skill is used in an opportunity, is because there's something that you have to give. So you have to take that very, very seriously, to say that it's because I have value to give. And your time can also be valuable. So, but the truth is, when you show up with your time, you don't just show up with only time, you show up with a lot more. What volunteering helps you do is it gives you opportunity to hone those gifts or those skills, those things that you already have in the field of giving. So today we have a project here, Skills for Her, where we had two people who were volunteering participate. These two volunteers came in just to assist us with registration. It's not something we cannot do on our own, but they are adolescent girls who would naturally be at home not doing anything. But they decided to participate and support with cleaning up the place, getting the place ready, and ensuring that the participants that for the Skills for Her project meet a clean environment. They're able to register them, get their attendance done. Young girls that are between the ages of 14 and 15, 13 and 14 actually, volunteering their time. So to them, they're here to gain skills, but they also came with their time. They also came with the ability to clean. It's something that, it took out from our time today. And that's teaching them how to become great from when they are young, as young people. So, and in so doing, they participated in the skills training, because then they didn't have to pay for anything, even though the skilling training is free. But by just coming here and helping to ensure that everyone is clean before and after, and ensuring that everyone gets what they need and things are passed on well, and then the training starts, they participated in the training. And they are learning how to make things like puff, like, buns and stuff like that. So some things that normally their parents have to pay for them to learn, but volunteering is allowing them to learn. So one thing I'll say about volunteering is, the first thing is, you have to have a goal when you want to volunteer. That's the first thing I tell everybody. If you want to volunteer, have a goal. Why do I want to volunteer? Do I want to give my time, or do I have a skill to give? So, and there are different kinds of volunteer, but I'll talk about two. One, those who are volunteering to gain skills, and those who are volunteering to give their skills. So if you are a lawyer, for instance, or an accountant, or you are a teacher, or a doctor, or you have a medical background, whatever skills that you have, you are an MC, you can give your skill. You can see this flyer and say, oh, do you have a moderator? I'm an MC, I can moderate this session for you. That's you volunteering your skills to it. And so you might not be getting paid for it, but you've got an opportunity to hone your skills as an MC. So and all that. So and volunteering is the safest place for you to make mistakes and learn. So because you're volunteering here, we'll give you some grace, because we know that you are doing this out of the abundance of your heart. So we'll give you grace, and you can make mistakes here. So you're either volunteering your skills, or you're volunteering to gain skills. And the second thing you need to do about volunteering, because I said is a key to greatness, which is the topic I was giving, is that you cannot be great from just anywhere. You have to be great from a place that you have seen that is great, and you want to get there. So the best thing to do is also beside having a goal, is also check out the organization that you want to volunteer with. Where are they going to? What are they doing? What do they have to offer? Because first thing is, you've checked out what you have to offer, what your goal is. Now you know what your goal is either to give your skill or to gain skill. Second thing is what the organization is up to. What are they working on? What do you have to give? You know, what do they have? What are they doing? I beg your pardon. So when you know what they're doing, you know if it aligns with you. So someone reached out to us recently to say they want to volunteer. And we told them we work specifically with adolescent girls, but they're looking for an organization that works with people with disability. And we had to refer them somewhere else. And that's because the person already has a goal and they know exactly where they are going to. So when they came to us, we're not a good fit for them. What we did was refer them. So you have to make sure that organization is also in line with what you're doing, or that's why your path to greatness is on the road to where you're going to. So the person can come volunteer with us, and we don't work with people with disability, and they will probably not gain a lot from it, because their goal, which is the first one, is they know what their goal is to work with an organization that works with children with people with disability. So that's the first. Second thing. The third thing is also to ensure that you understand what the organization is looking for. We had a volunteer that came here before, maybe 2 years ago, and the person came here dressed in suits, and the person was dressed proper. I really, really like the way the person dressed. And I kept asking her, you know why you always, all dressed up? We most times say we're on jeans and t-shirt because we go on the field. And she said she's treating it like a real actual role. And this girl was documenting her journey. She was taking pictures, her first day with Beyond the Classroom, and you could see that she was trying to document her growth. I really fell in love with that, because she treated it like an actual growth. She read the job description and she said, this job description is just for an office assistant. However, I would treat it like a real job. So I'm trying to merge 2 and 3 because I have limited time. The 3 is to read the job description, understand it, and the 4th is to treat it like an actual role, which is what she did. She treated it like an actual role. The first is to understand the goal, your goal. Second is to read about the organization, understand what they're doing. The third is to understand the job description, because that's how you show up better if you understand the job description. This lady showed up well, knowing the job description. So the 4th is now to treat it like an actual role, like not a volunteer, like a role that that's preparing you for your next big role, and which is what she did. And so that's the 4th one. And the 5th one, which is very, very important, is always ask for feedback. Ask for feedback. So if you're volunteering for a one-off event, it's a different thing entirely. I could have discussed and explained different types of volunteering, but then there's no time. I'm just going to stick to it. So I will say here that there's short-term and long-term volunteering. So if you're volunteering what is the long-term, like what that lady was doing when she came to us, it's easy for her to ask us for feedback because she comes here regularly, right? So she could ask us feedback. So, but if it's a one-off volunteer opportunity where you just show up for an event and you work and go, it's just a one-off feedback. And just how did I do generally, right? But if it's a 6 month internship or a 1 year volunteer opportunity, then you can, ask for feedback as you move along. Because don't just say, oh, because I'm a volunteer, I will not be appraised and it's fine. Ask for feedback. And the last thing I'll say about volunteering to greatness is you have to be professional in everything that you do. You have to, and part of professionalism is documenting every single thing that you do. In a real professional job, you will document all your wins. You will document all the things that you've done that failed. So the 6th and final thing I'll say is document the journey. I mentioned that when I was talking about this lady, when I mentioned her in 3, 4, and 5, I think, or 3, 4, and 5, and 6 now, she treated it like a professional opportunity. She also showed up on time. She was very punctual. But there are days when she came on time and she left late, and I was like, you have to just go, And it was just 3 days a week, but she really made an impression. And so you also have to document your journey. And I was always liking her posts on social media because she was always tagging us. And you could see that she was posting the project that we're doing. You would think that she was on a paid job, but she was only volunteering and she treated it well. In fact, when she applied for one of the scholarships, I used my heart and my soul to give her a recommendation, which she eventually got, and she left for the country that she went to. But my point here is that you give people who you volunteer with the opportunity to write for you and recommend you for future opportunities when you treat it like an actual job, not just something that I just do to just pass by. So I would, for the benefit of those who are joining and who have missed it, I just reiterated the 6 things that I always tell volunteers to look out for or to think about or to put at the back of their mind if they ever have to volunteer. And the first one is have a goal. The first one is have a goal. What's the goal of your volunteering? Go deep into it. And in searching your goal, a lot of people have sat down to define their goals, where they want to go to, and all that, how they and everything, and it led them to even understanding the SDGs and everything like that. Because in sitting down to understand your goal, there's a lot that can come out of it. In fact, it will take a lot of time to really dissect that if you talk about that. Then the second is understand the organization you want to go to. Is it a girls' rights organization? Is it an education-focused organization? Is it youth-led? Are they focused on women's rights, or are they advancing sexual and reproductive health? Find out, and then make sure that you are going with those that you are aligned with, not just any organization. Make sure that it's someone that you're aligned with. And the third thing you're going to do, third thing I said you should do is to make sure treat it like a real job, an actual job. Show up on time, be professional, be punctual, do the things that you're asked, meet your deadlines, do everything that you're asked to do, and if you can't do it, communicate. Just make sure that you treat it like an actual role. And the fourth thing that I said that you need to also do is to document your journey. Document your journey, document as many times as possible. Document, I would keep emphasizing it, and your journey in terms of the things that you've done. One time I was applying for an opportunity many years ago, and I was asked a question about a project that I've done. I was in the interview phase, and I couldn't remember. And it hurt me because if I'd written it down, I probably have studied it before the interview. And that was when I started writing down my wins when I do projects. I call them my brag sheets. Document that journey, read up the job description on, make sure that you understand it thoroughly. Make sure that you know it like the back of your hand, because that's the only way you treat it professionally. That's the only way you can even document your journey and your ways, if you understand it. And then I think that's the six things. I think if I'm not mixing them up, I think I've mentioned them over and over again. So the six things and so another thing I would say about volunteering before I get off the mic is that when you start to volunteer, when you are in an organization, please take ownership. And I'm saying that because a lot of volunteers, they only say, they're only here, or not to say here, because not at our organization, but they're only volunteering because they want to be able to, like I said, put things out there and apply for an opportunity. It's good, but also remember that it goes beyond that, right? It goes beyond that in the sense that when you build relationship with the nonprofit, you can always come back. It might not be a job, it might be a recommendation, it could be a referral. So take ownership and treat them like, like you are being paid for it. I know that most people don't pay volunteers, but it's not enough to not give your best, is what I'm trying to say, because you're not being paid for it. You can give your best so that you are leaving the door open to be able to walk back anytime, so that you're not volunteering haphazardly and then you shut the door behind you and then you are unable to ever walk back again. Recently, someone messaged me on LinkedIn for a recommendation. I couldn't even remember her. I'm not even joking. And I kept asking, okay, send me pictures of when you volunteered with us. She said, oh, many years ago, like 8 years ago. It was so long ago, And I said, okay, send us something to show me. And she doesn't have pictures, but she came. And I realized that at the end of this speaking, I realized she only came for one event, but it was not enough for a recommendation, and I thought, but I can't even remember. It was just one event that was just come and you go, and you didn't have a picture to show for it and all that. You didn't have anything to show for it. But did you pick up a tax exactly that you did? No. And I checked her pages, and in fact, I took it upon myself to go deep down on her page to check the year that she said she came to do that event. She didn't even share a flyer about us. So that didn't even show that we had any connection at all. So take ownership, because that will also show that you take it seriously. So yeah, my advice to you is this 6 advice. If you take it seriously and you start to do it, you would have a great time volunteering. And I believe that it will help you in your journey to wherever it is you're going to. So, and I hope that helps you. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Can we just keep giving her the clap emojis, please? That was really insightful. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma. You can drop in the chats. Thank you. Just there. Thank you in the chats. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, I learned so much from this session. I think the best part was understanding that volunteering creates room for bigger opportunities, and that it's good to take initiative and ownership when you are volunteering. Thank you so much. And then documenting our process. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. All right. Okay, thank you, David. All right, so this just lets us know that questions taken after the entire session. So if you have a question, just pen it down. Our speakers are still here and they will attend to you. Thank you so much. So we're going quickly now to our next speaker, Mr. Onoc. He'll be speaking on youth decent work and the SDGs, building pathways to global impact. So we'll get to understand how that decent work, how that we as youth can actually build good and great impacts for ourselves in the world that we are. So I'll quickly go through his bio now.
Okay.
Are you there, sir? I'll just quickly go through your bio so that people get to know you a bit. All right, thank you so much. So, Mr. Onoc Mokwunye is a monitoring, evaluation, and learning specialist with over 10 years of experience supporting youth development, youth-focused policy and programming, public policy, health systems planning, agriculture, education. I mean, he's a packed speaker. So just keep giving your emojis because this is going to be a very amazing time. Right. He is currently serving as the director of MEL and strategic partnerships at Cloneshouse, where he leads the design of practical, inclusive, and results-focused MEL systems that strengthen development programs, youth initiatives, and public institutions. His experience spans across health, power, education, agriculture, and civil society programming, with work involving government institutions, donors, and development partners across Nigeria and sub-Saharan Africa. He holds an MSc in Evaluation and Policy Analysis from Manchester Metropolitan University, England, and graduate certificates from the University of Witwatersrand and the United Nations Institute for Training and Research. So we are going to have a very great time with Mr. Onoc. He has a lot of experience. I mean, so just keep, like I said, get your pen and paper. If you need water, please bring water as well. It's going to be a very great session. It's for youth, it's for all of us. So let's get to learn, let's get to enjoy this session. And secondly, we'll have questions after he's done speaking. That's our final speaker. So thank you so much, sir. The floor is yours. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, Dorcas, for the warm welcome.
Thank you, sir.
And then, yeah, I think it would be good to help me articulate my thoughts if you prompt me by asking each of those questions. I know that there are certain questions you want me to, to respond to. Yeah, but I think before we dive into the questions, I think this year's topic, the theme is quite apt, different contexts, common aspirations. Very recently, the ILO reached out to us and we're working on the National Youth Employment Action Plan. We're revising it for the Ministry of Youth, which is like a framework to guide youth employment for Nigeria. And so I'll be drawing a lot of my conversation from the engagement, speaking to lots of youth, and I've spoken to a lot of many amazing youths in the course of this work in the revision of the NAIP. But one thing keeps, is central to some of this, to some of the work we've been doing recent as it concerns revising the NAIP, is that young people do not all begin from the same place, right? Some have access to quality education, technology, professional networks. Others face limited infrastructure, financial barriers, fewer opportunities. Yet, young people share the same aspirations. And I've done a youth survey. I've spoken to youth, NYC people randomly in the course of this work. Young people share the same common aspirations. They want meaningful work, financial security, dignity, inclusion, and the opportunity to contribute to society. So when we discuss youth employment, we must not only ask, are young people working, right? We must also ask, what kind of work are these young people doing? And does it offer dignity, security, and a future? So hopefully we're able to unpack some of this as the conversation goes. So Dorcas, what was the first question you wanted me to respond to, just to articulate my thoughts and then put some structure to the feedback, and so that the youths can also follow as well?
All right, so the first question here says, what does decent work mean for young people today?
Oh, fantastic. I think the ILO articulates what decent work means for young people. The ILO says decent work includes productive employment, fair income, workplace security, social protection, equal opportunity, and respect for workers' rights, right? So for young people, decent work means work that pays fairly and consistently, is safe and free from exploitation, harassment, and discrimination, Decent work means work that protects workers' rights, work that provides opportunities to learn, grow, and progress along, the corporate ladder, whatever. Work that offers some level of security and social protection, is accessible regardless of your gender, disability, location, or background. And this decent work does not only apply to formal employees, right? It also applies to entrepreneurs, freelancers, farmers, creative, artisans, and workers in the informal and digital economies. A young person may be employed but still earn too little to meet basic needs, right? Another may own a small business but lack access to finance, electricity, markets, or social protection. A digital worker may earn online but have no contact or have no contract or protection from unfair treatment, as seen with the case in Kenya. I don't know whether we remember a story that was run recently, I think on the BBC. Some of these workers in Kenya that were reviewing the back end of the AI outputs, and they're looking at gruesome images and gory images. And then there were a lot of, front and back over how are these people protected psychologically. How much were they earning? Less than $1, something ridiculous, for 8, 9, 10 hours of work. There was no psychosocial support and all of that, So these are some of the conversations around ensuring that people have decent work and they're treated fairly, And that is why employment figures alone does not tell the full story. So we must go ahead to ask, is this work productive? Is the income fair and reliable to these youths? Is the workplace safe? Are workers' rights respected? And is there opportunity to grow? Which for me, I think is very key. Is an opportunity for me to grow when I enter this role, right? So for me, I think the key standout point for this question will be, and I think this what I want you guys to take out from this first question is a good job should not merely keep a young person busy. It should provide dignity, development, and a pathway towards a better future, for youths. Thank you.
Thank you
And
so
please note your
much.
questions. We can just take questions and, like Dorcas has said at the end. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So the next question says, how does decent work contribute to achieving the SDGs?
Oh, fantastic. So decent work is directly connected to SDG 8, which promotes inclusive economic growth, productive employment, and decent work for all. However, its impact extends across several other SDG goals. So for example, SDG 1 is no poverty. Fair and productive work helps young people meet their needs, support their families, and break cycles of poverty. SDG 3 speaks to good health and well-being, so safe workplaces, reasonable working hours, which promotes good work-life balance, social protection, physical and mental health. SDG 4, quality education. Education and training must equip young people relevant skills for a changing labor market, especially in this current world of work that AI is disrupting. SDG 5 speaks to gender equality. Decent work promotes equal pay, protection from harassment, and better economic opportunities for young women and men. SDG 9, industry and innovation. So young workers and entrepreneurs contribute new ideas, technologies, and businesses. SDG 10, reduce inequality. So inclusive employment creates opportunities for rural youth, young women, persons with disabilities, and other underserved groups. SDG 13, climate action. So green jobs allow young people to build careers in renewable energy, recycling, climate smart agriculture, and environmental management. So decent work is therefore not just a one development goal. It's a pathway through which progress across many SDGs can be accelerated. When a young person obtains decent work, the benefit extends beyond that individual. They reach families, businesses, communities, and the wider economy especially because Africa is like a tight-knit community where there's black tax. You find out that once somebody gets a job, the other dependents, the other people looking up to that person or that, or that youth, for success and all. And I keep telling you, and I've always talked about this in the youth forums I've spoken in that AI. First of all, the internet and AI has liberalized knowledge, right? All you just need to do is just to tap into it, have a plan, tap into it, and then figure out how you're going to use these tools, to get into this network. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope you're all following. And again, if you have questions, please just pen it down so that we can ask after the session. Thank you. The next question says, what opportunities exist for young people to contribute to the SDGs? Young
What
people,
opportunities exist
yes.
To contribute to the SDGs? I think Raquel, I'd be the first because we talked about volunteering, right?
Yes.
But yeah, and which brings me to, young people do not need to wait until they occupy senior positions before contributing to sustainable development. Youth can contribute through social entrepreneurship. So you can build businesses that solve problems in education, health, transport, waste management, and financial inclusion. Like I said, AI tools has come to liberalize knowledge. There's a lot one can do. There are a lot of problems in the country that you can focus and think about and say, okay, if this is a problem to me, I'm sure it can be a problem to another person. So can I develop a tool, a product that can help me solve the problem, thereby helping other people solve that problem, right? So social entrepreneurship, technology and digital innovation. So creating digital solutions, analyzing data and using technology to improve public and private services. I remember them like when data analysis was a big thing. I had pitched to the Ministry of Youth. They had issues analyzing their data sets, and I told them, "Hey, give me your data sets to analyze. I can even come and do like a free training, a 1 day intro training on data analysis." And yeah, from there, what's there like volunteering my thoughts, my knowledge, what I just learned for free on the internet, got me other gigs, supporting the ministry and the work that they do. So digital solutions, analyzing data, how do you apply those things you've learned, online to make yourself useful? Green jobs, working in renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, recycling, and environmental protection is another we can contribute. We can contribute to agriculture and food systems, so contributing through production, processing, logistics, agri-tech, and market development. There's also creative industries, so using film, music, fashion, design, and digital content to create jobs and communicate development issues. There are a lot of AI tools that can help you articulate your thoughts properly and then you put it across platforms, right? Like I said, the only limit is yourself. The AI has come to liberalize knowledge, right? And I'm happy to share some tools, that you can leverage on, to help bring your ideas to life. There's also, you can go into research, monitoring, and evaluation. So generating and using evidence to show what's working, what needs improvement, and whose needs are being overlooked. This is one place that I feel has not been scratched. Why do I say so? The government is always coming up with lots of policies, right? You can quickly just take one of those policies and then do an infographic. There are AI tools that can help you do this infographic, and you put it on Twitter, X now, I think it's called, and other social media tools, right? So for example, I had worked on a project recently, and most people have never heard about the NSQF. Please, if you've heard about the NSQF, can you just drop like a thumbs up emoji or something? It's called the National Skills Qualification Framework. How many people have heard of it? Okay, Raquel, you don't. I know you'll have heard of it, not Raquel. Most people didn't know about the NSQF, right? I can be a very good bricklayer, and then I go into one of these TVET centers, get my certificates, and all of that. And they're doing a lot. Most people didn't know about it. And I told the comms guy, I said, look, stop doing an infographic, do this, push it out so that people start, so you can start you can even write about it, start putting yourself out on LinkedIn. And that's where serious people are. I'm not on any other social media platform. I'm big on LinkedIn. So I would advise each and every youth here that wants to apply himself, get like I can share videos on how to optimize your LinkedIn page if you're interested. And then do like a proper photo picture of you on it. And yeah, look at government policies that you think are relevant, turn it into a simple infographic. And you have AI tools that can help you do all of this, and you post it, write a little blog post about it. I've heard about the NSQF, for example. This is what it entails. Oh, click this link below to get a list of centers in your state or around Nigeria. You can quickly go and qualify, and you keep providing value. You'll be amazed how people. I've been headhunted a lot of times on LinkedIn, because when people see you're providing value, they will reach out to you, right? So just some ideas to to think about. Yeah, civic participation and volunteering. Joining policy discussions. Raquel has already talked a lot about civic participation and volunteering, leading community projects and holding institutions accountable. So global impact doesn't always begin with a global platform. It often begins by identifying a problem and applying your skills to solve it. And I'll keep saying, AI and the internet has come to liberalize knowledge. It's just to say, okay, this is what I want to focus on. And you have a plan, 2, 3, 4 months plan to post consistently about. Nigeria has a lot of policies you can just simplify and then churn out across social media. Because people need a lot of information. I can tell you that I've done a lot of key informant interviews with MDAs that have youth focused line items. And they finished talking when I'm done talking with this director of policy or whatever in each of those MDAs. I'm like, why are people not communicating this? Most MDAs have a communication problem. They're not able to quickly reach out to their intended beneficiaries or participants. You can't tell me that you're doing all of this and it's just sitting in your department and nobody knows. I'm sure you can walk into the National Export Promotion Council and ask them, hey, what do you do? Can I help you push across your stuff around social media and all of that? You'll be amazed, what can come out of it. So for me, young people should also be recognized as more than beneficiaries or volunteers. They are workers, innovators, entrepreneurs, partners, and decision makers as well. And just to add that, and that's one of the reasons when we're telling the Ministry of Youth that, look, this new NEP should be anchored on current realities. Policy should not just be about a bunch of people, government workers sitting in an AC room making policy for the youth without having youth voices as being part of that policy or part of that conversation. And that is why with the work that we're doing with revising the NEP, asking youth, please have your say. There's a youth have your say survey we've been pushing. I know Dorcas has helped us, and the organization has helped us push it out. Please, if you can interact with that survey, it's important to have youths being part of the policy process and having their thoughts around what we're even interested in. So I think I'll stop there. Dorcas.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I really, really, really love this your session. I really love what you've said so far. And I think one thing you said again was that we should learn to put ourselves out there, right? And that's really amazing. So I will be going to the next question. It's the final question. We really move towards that direction. So we're just going to blend it now. So the next question now is, what can people do to prepare themselves for the future of work? You really started that conversation. Just make it simpler now for us. Thank you, sir.
Oh, fantastic. So how can young people prepare for the future of work? The future of work is being shaped by artificial intelligence, digital tech, climate change, remote work, new business models. So it is important that young people therefore prepare for change rather than prepare for only one job title. I was telling somebody the other day, and even our parents, right? We need to start educating our parents that the world of work is changing. Growing up, my own time, they'll tell you either you become a doctor, a nurse, engineer, architect, and the popular ones, right? But I can tell people that in the last 15 years, 10 years, we didn't have things like software developer, somebody who develops software for phones, right? Things are now changing, right? And especially because we're now seeing pressure from parents, and all of that. So I think the onus is on us, young people, to prepare for that change, and not bother about looking for, job titles. Till now, my dad still, he knows I'm successful, but he doesn't understand what it means that I'm a monitoring, evaluation, and learning specialist, right? Because like during that time, he was just fixated doctor, lawyer, engineer, none all of that. But the world of work is changing, and you must adapt, right? You must adapt. So I think you should build a combination of skills, right? And for me, I would say young people need 3 broad categories of skills. So you need technical skills, which is related to a profession or industry, right? You also need digital skills, which will include the responsible use of data and AI. And 3, we need human skills, which will include, or some people say soft skills, such as communication, teamwork, creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving. Another thing I would say too is don't put pressure on yourself, one. So learn to adapt. Don't put pressure on yourself. Don't compare yourself with others, thinking that, see where Dorcas is now, see me now, see my life. No, people have different paths in life, right? So, and I was telling somebody recently that, like for me, straight out of NYC, I didn't stay at home. Maybe I just left camp like a March. In 2 or 3 months later, I got a job in the telecoms industry, right? So I didn't stay at home so long because I had applied myself. I read my first BSc is human physiology. My dad was on my case to get into medicine, right? But while I was serving, I knew that the world of work was changing. So I started developing my skills in project management. It was a big thing in 2009, 2010. So I was coming all the way from Gombe to Abuja on Fridays, do project management class Saturday, go back on Sunday, right? So I started developing myself. But after Airtel led us off in 2013, everybody, because Airtel, the Indians took over and they wanted cheap labor. That was the time I sat down really to reflect and ask myself, I was like, what's the next career path I wanted to do? And that's not a question anybody can answer for you. You need to sit down and really reflect. If you want to pray, meditate, whatever works for you, to ask that, okay, what do I want to focus on? If you're able to answer this question, once you're able to answer this question, you're like 80% there. Then you now have a plan. Do I want to volunteer? What skills do I want to learn? How do I want to achieve this? And then you start building a pathway for developing that. Early in my career, massive online open courses were a big deal. I had stumbled on it and I started doing lots of courses. And my dad would come in and people like, you're always lying down. You're always on your screen. What are you doing? And when I explained I'm doing a course online, he didn't get it, right? So the pressure was there. But those massive online open courses was what broke me into the career I'm in now, because I'll be able to say everybody has a BSc. What makes me stand out? I've done a course with the World Bank. I've done a course with UNICEF. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. I have an edge over my peers that were still applying for that role. So be adaptive, figure out what exactly you want to do. And that's a question you can only answer yourself. But answer this question in all honesty and, without comparing yourself to others, not because this person is doing this and this, like this is what's in vogue, then I also have to do it. It has to be something that you're happy about. If they wake you up and say, hey, come and do this, you know that this is what I really want to do, right? Another thing, let me quickly run through this. Become a lifelong learner. I still registered for a course today. A qualification open a first door, but continuous learning helps a person remain very relevant. Young people should use short courses, mentorships, professional communities, and practical projects to keep learning. In fact, I just told you guys that I registered for a course, right? So if you guys want to jump on the course with me tomorrow it starts at 5:30 a.m. If you're interested, if you go to outskill.com, let me quickly run this so that there'll be time for questions. Outskill.com. Yes. So select non-coding. So it teach you how to use generative AI, right? I've used it to simplify processes. I use it in my work as a tool. So please, if you guys want to jump on it, I'm happy to, that's the link, outskill.com. Build to become a lifelong learner. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly jumping on new courses, build evidence of ability. So certificates are useful, but employers and clients also want proof that a person can apply what they know. So it'd be good to start building portfolios containing projects, research, writing, designs, business plans, dashboards, even your blog posts can build evidence of ability, right? Have a good LinkedIn profile. Gain practical experience, internships, apprenticeships, volunteering, freelancing, community projects. Some of these things are ways that can provide valuable experience. Experience does not always begin with a permanent job. It can begin with a real problem that needs a solution or something you've written about, or it's also very important to use AI responsibly. Because ring light, my friend, they said because ring light and phone is now cheap, a lot of people start, misusing AI and people's data and all of that. But it's important that young people should learn to use AI to improve productivity, research, and innovation. They must also verify information, protect confidential data, recognize bias, and apply human judgment. For every output I use AI a lot in the work that I do, but I always have my human judgment, right? Like I keep telling people, AI will not take your job. It's somebody that knows how to use AI that will take your job. It's important to build meaningful networks. I'm not going to talk so much about this. It's important to start understanding workplace rights, right? You should be able to understand contracts, fair pay, working hours, workplace safety, protection from harassment, and all of that. Some of the things to start thinking about. But of course, this should be a shared responsibility. While I know I'm talking about preparing yourself, adaptive, blah, blah, blah. I've also learned that you must not place the entire responsibility for unemployment to youth alone or to you guys alone. And I think that's some of the things to also articulating in the new revised NAIP. So government, employers, educational institutions, and development partners must also expand digital infrastructure and reliable electricity. For me, even the government can get us to get 24/7, this 24/7 power, it will have a catalytic effect. It's important to align education and training with labor market opportunities. We need to revamp our curriculum, and all of that. I'm not going to go so much into, but some of these thoughts are some of the things we're going to be putting into the new revised NAIP, and we'll make sure that we do like a one-pager where I'll put on my LinkedIn, where it's easy without reading a bulky 200-pager document. We'll put up an infographic where you can just see the key highlights of what that document speaks about. So young people cannot build pathways to global impact if the systems around them continue to block access to opportunity. So just for me to summarize, my challenge to every young person is this: do not wait until you have a perfect job or a large platform or an important title before contributing to the SDGs. Begin with the problem you can see, build the skills needed to address it. Like I've said, there are a lot of platforms where you can learn a ton of things. Find people who share your concern, start small and remain consistent. For me, the hardest thing is starting. You can have all the links to all the platforms, you can have but do you have that will to open the laptop, click the link, and then start the course or whatever? Youth empowerment is not achieved simply by inviting young people into the room. It is achieved when they have skills, resources, protection, voice, and opportunity to influence what happens in the room. And when young people have access to decent work, they do more than secure their own futures. They help build stronger economies, more inclusive communities, and a more sustainable world. Thank you very much. I've not spoken too much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Please, can we just give Mr. Monoche a round of applause? That was an amazing session. I think we should become lifelong learners. We should not give up learning. It's important to learn. It's important to research. It's important to use AI, but use AI responsibly as well. And then it should not replace our mind, because this is the best thing we have. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So questions will be taken after the session. We have one more speaker to go, after which you cannot ask your questions. So if you have questions, please do well to write it down so you don't forget. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining. If you know you're enjoying this session, just leave a chat. Just leave a comment in the chat box. Maybe I'm enjoying the session, or leave an emoji. Anyone. Thank you so much, Victoria. Thank you, everyone. All right, once again, thank you to our speaker. Thank you to Mama Raquel. You are still here. Thank you so much for staying with us. We're about to go to our next session now, after we take our Q&A. So our next speaker is Mr. Alil Abbas Abubakar. He's already here with us. If you can hear me, please just keep jamming. Just keep bringing out your emojis and your stickers. Let's welcome him now. So he's taking us in the next session, and you'll be speaking. We'll be speaking on positioning for global opportunities. I believe everybody here wants to go global, wants to go across the continent, wants to make impact. So this is the time to learn what exactly it is and it takes to become a global impact person, right? So he is a multifaceted author and young aviator, currently serving as the president of Aviation Club Nigeria. He's guiding aspiring aviators. He's also the National Vice President of Jamil Pajo International, that's JPI, is committed to empowering young people. He's a global advisor with international organizations. He mentors founders, startups, and entrepreneurs worldwide. He's a fellow at Said Business School, University of Oxford, where he was chosen to as one of the young people to lead Africa to global markets and one of the only two AI Shark fellows in Nigeria. I mean, that's commendable. Well done, sir. He's also passionate about advocates for peace, humanity, and global development. And as a global youth advisor with the award UK, he champions SDG 4. That's education, right? Quality education, emphasizing global education. He's also a YEEP fellow with United Nations Office of Counter Terrorism, that's UNOCT, and he's recognized by his worldwide impact and advocacy. He's also a dedicated volunteer. Emphasis on volunteer. He's an activist, a leader of the Sahel region, and he reconnects and inspires young people through his podcast, Abbas Inspire. So if you know you want to look for him after now, get the podcast name, Abbas Inspire. So if you want to be inspired, you want to know what to do with your life, just go look for him. So without further ado, let's give it up for Mr. Abbas. He's taking us for the next session. In the next 15 minutes, we should be out of here. So just listen attentively and be sure that you get what he's saying. If you have questions again, please do well to ask or keep it so you can ask later. Thank you so much, Mr. Alil. The floor is yours. I heard be sharing your screen. So just let me know when you're ready.
Hello, good day, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Thank you very much, Oju. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, there are greater speakers in the room about me, so I am pretty much fascinated and at the same time inspired. Mr. Onuchi and also Raquel, thank you so much for all you shared. Quite an amazing insight, and I'm looking forward to learning from you as well. Am I able to share my screen now? Can you see my screen?
Not yet, but we can see you.
Oju is still telling me only you can share this in this meeting. I think you have to manage the permissions.
I'm checking that out now again.
Okay, it's the same thing again. Or perhaps I will forward it now to you so you can share from your end. Is that okay?
All right, that works. While I keep checking from my end, that works.
Okay. Are you able to fix it now?
I'm still on it.
Okay.
It's not working on my end. Maybe you can just start while I try to fix that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, give me a second, please.
I just accepted that now.
Okay.
Ali, I think it's working now. Maybe try. Click
Okay.
share again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was already off. Can you see it now? Hello, can you see it now?
No, it has not
No, it's not yet.
come up. Not yet. Yep,
How about
it's
now?
coming up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good day again. Once again, good day, everyone.
Good day, Mr. Aliu.
Okay, like mentioned, I'm Ali Abbas by name. I am also, like she mentioned, a lot of things that she mentioned actually. And I'm really glad to be here. And I'm really looking forward to sharing with you my knowledge, my journey so far, and all the things that I have been able to, accomplish so far and achievements. Hopefully it's something that I will be able to help guide you and, be something that you can add to your journey as well. Okay. So the focus today, it's going to be about different contexts, common aspiration, just like the International Youth Day team. And like we know, there is a lot going on, and there is basically so much we have to learn in order to be able to thrive and also create the impact that we all dream of creating in more sense. I want you to put this in your mind. I want you to really, really put this in your mind. This particular saying that you don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to start discovering who you are, what you can become, and what you can contribute in the society. I'd like to start by sharing some of or a little bit of my story about where I started from, precisely in a very small town called Zuru, where opportunities and dreams are very much limited. I have always felt out of place. I have always wondered if I was meant for more, but even if I was meant for more, how do I grasp whatever it is that I have? And people used to mock me a lot, call me names, call me a liar, because I used to do so many things that are out of the ordinary, not necessarily like things that are basically beyond, thinking, but basically just things that they cannot think about. I always think about, beyond the idea of impossibility of what they see as impossible. I always think of these things as possible. So I always seem like the guy who is always out of place, who doesn't, know what he's doing, and, just mocks here and there, people from different neighborhood by neighborhood. And it just goes like that over time. And it's reached a point whereby it affected me in ways that I can't even imagine. So all I could do was basically always just go to school back, and then I'm in my house, basically in the parlor, always lay down in or curled up in a couch most of the time, because I literally don't know, because much people don't really connect with me anymore because of the kind of dreams that I have. But I've always been driven by this idea of wanting to create impact, basically. Impact is what I have always wanted to do. I wanted to be more than just the idea of a guy who goes to school, come back at the end of the day, graduate, find a normal job, be a part of a normal job, live the life, got married, have kids and stuff. I want to do more, precisely. And I believe most of us are basically have the same drive of wanting to actually also create that much of things they want to create for their lives. I think I've lost connection. Am I still audible?
You are still audible, but we can't see your screen again.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Let me reshare again. So basically, let me just keep continuing with the story while I figure out connecting with the screen again. So over time, I couldn't just get a hold of what is it. At some point, I started feeling like maybe I was sick. Maybe my dreams are just maybe beyond my reach. Maybe I'm just the one who is extra, and stuff like that. And maybe I should just start being normal like everyone else. But I can't find the connection. Would you?
Let me try again.
Ooh.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, I think so. Can you see me now?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, I think I'm back. You can see my screen, right? Yeah, so apparently at the end of the day, I just had to leave home. So it might seem like just an ordinary story, but I want you to understand something clearly. I come from a family of three. My parents are divorced, so I only had a mother, and she had about three of us as kids. I had an elder sister, junior sister, and me in the middle. But over time, I lost both sisters. So I became like the last surviving child to my mother. So in a way, it became like almost like she became overprotective because, yeah, understandable. But then in my in my teenage age, I wouldn't really understand that was being overprotective. But I just felt like she was just being, just in a way trying to hold me back from achieving the things that I wanted to achieve. So I had these restrictions and limitations to the things that I wanted to do because she kept me in a place. I wouldn't call it a cage, but then it almost like became my comfort zone, always trying to be there. But it kept hitting me that I wanted more. And how do I grasp that more that I want? Over time, the only thing that I could think about doing was basically leaving home. No matter how much uncomfortable that was for me, imagine a last child, with all the care and everything I was getting from my parent, I just wanted to leave. And I left. And that was my first time leaving home. And that was the beginning of me becoming exposed to the opportunities that I have realized today. And now I would like to go to the next stage. Basically, the journey is in 3 stages. Every great impact begins with a sequence of decision to start. This framework is going to guide you through 3 powerful stages, the way it has helped me over time. Though it took time to put them together like this, because when it's almost like a double, because you're not really sure what you're basically doing. But then over time, because of the discovery, you keep going, and then you came to realize that this is your journey and this is what you wanted to do. So from self-discovery, basically, which is basically the first stage, which is knowing yourself, you have to know who you are and what you're capable of doing. Whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is that you aim to achieve, one of the key aspects of that, or that one of the key things that is going to really help you is basically understanding who you really are and what you are capable of doing. And the second thing is basically building yourself. You have to develop the skills, the belief, and the courage to act. It's basically very much crucial for you because if you want to create impact, you have to know that impact requires skills to build. And at the same time, what is that belief that is ties around you? And how strong is your courage to be able to act? And then the last part, which is basically the last stage, is basically turning your growth into, potential matter. That's what really matters in more sense. So it's really important that you know that what is that one thing that your community, it could be your community, what is that one thing that the world, basically, if you're looking at the global world, is missing? And I have the potential to actually create impact in that sector. And that will basically give you the shape impact that you're looking for. And then going to the next slide, I have something I have been able to develop, which I call the Abbas effect, which is basically a combination or a compilation of about 10 principles that helped me in becoming the person that is capable of creating the change that I have envisioned, and basically what I have still been going over time. And basically, through that is basically coming up with basically my name, following it as an identity, which is Ali Abbas Imorison. So for every letter stands for a specific thing that actually aligns with me, which every morning if I wake up, I make sure that is something that I go over. And apart from that, understanding that just hearing someone call your name might likely be or help you in understanding what basically it is that you stand for, your aspirations, what you're capable of, and what you want to go ahead. And as you can see, the first letter is audacity for me. And I believe that this is not the first time you're hearing this, especially when people are telling you or guiding you on understanding why you need audacity to be able to, just challenge the status quo or wanting to do something great in life. Because where there's audacity, there's actually great things to happen. Why is it audacity? What does it translate to? It translates to daring to dream beyond your circumstances. Like I mentioned in my story, remember, I was the only one who was basically different in my community. My dreams, my aspiration, the way they think, the kind of things I talk, they always feel like, because they don't understand them, they don't know how to relate to this kind of things. Maybe because I was far beyond that, maybe because I managed to put myself just beyond the idea of that. And what has been able to help me through that particular time were basically the books I was reading and the films I watch. I relate to movies a lot because I watch movies a lot because movies help me in understanding certain things and situations in life. At the same time, I read books a lot, and that also helps me in shaping my exposure to the world that we are living today. The L stands for learning. Learning is very much crucial in whatever it is that you want to do out in this life. Apart from having audacity, you need to learn. And building the knowledge and dreams that requires you to basically pursue your dreams and the aspiration that you aspire to be, you need to learn. You need to build on your knowledge, apparently. And then the I stands for identity. I cannot emphasize enough because I think the last speaker also spoke about identity. It's very much important, whether you like it or not. in today's world that we live in, identity is what is going to shape you, and it is what is going to put you in rooms that you never even dream of, seeing yourself, and dreams that you dare to be a part of. Identity is very much crucial. I remember when I became a community organizer with Yaga Africa, one of the tasks we were given to do was basically to understand who we are as an identity. And we're given an assignment that almost took the entirety without us going around, and only for us to come back. And they told us that we didn't have to go far. An identity can be something that is attached to simply your name, understanding what you are meant to do, your aspirations, the impact you want to do, who you really are, and how you intend to achieve those things. And that was one of the things that have helped me in coming up with my basically Ali Abbas effect, which is basically what I'm trying to share with you right now. So for me, it is Ali Abbas effect, but for you, it can be any other thing that is tied to your name that basically every single day you wake up to, and it reminds you of what your journey is, what you aspire to do, who you really are, your beliefs, your disciplines, or what you intend to achieve with them. So basically identity, knowing your values and what makes you different in your community or in the global space, and what makes you you in more sense. And then the E stands for environment. Now, this is another thing that is basically very important, that you realize that it's another thing that can actually shape or gives you access to the world that you aim to grasp. Environment can dictate your life. Environment can shape your thinking, can limit what you can do in the world that we live in today. And thank God, most of the people that I know, or most of the people that I hear, are mostly, in environments that actually gives them the opportunity to thrive in these situations. Remember, I come from a mini town that is very limited, that more or less have very less access to the global opportunities so even the national opportunities I can even guarantee you. So environment is another thing. A likelihood, sometimes you may need to, pretty much just leave where you are to a different space, and likely give you access to different sort of people that may actually have shared goals, shared opportunities, or even the community itself. Because basically, like the last speaker and the last two speakers, I think pretty much mentioned this, networking is very, very, very important. And sometimes people who share the same goals as you or share the same dreams as you may not be in that same community or environment that you are, which may require you to actually pretty much just move a little bit to a different space in more essence. So basically, E for environment, which is basically surrounding yourself with people and spaces that may help you grow. And then Y stands for taking ownership of your journey. This is just like the Ali framework, and the Abbas framework is going to come later after this specifically. You is basically understanding you, what you are capable of doing, who you are, like I mentioned earlier, what you are capable of achieving, what you can do, what you basically have the audacity to do, your beliefs, your discipline, anything that makes you, you. That's what you stands for in more essence. I hope you're taking note, because it's going to be a whole overload of information. And I speak a lot fast. So basically, please pardon me while I go forward. Yeah, so basically, you may need to ask yourself these several questions based on the Ali framework that I just shared with you. Audacity says, if fear and money and others' opinions weren't limitations, what will you attempt? And the learning asks you, what skills will make the biggest difference in the life that you want to build? And the identity also asks you, what do you believe in? What are you naturally good at? What problems do you care about? And the environment mentions about who and where are the 5 people. For example, it can be 5, it can be just 1 or 2, but basically I use 5. Who and where are the 5 people influencing the person you are becoming? You need to surround yourself with people and spaces that help you grow. Very much important. And then the U says, why are you waiting for someone else to give you permission to start? You don't need tomorrow. You don't need next tomorrow. You don't need later. You can only have now. And if you don't start now, you may likely keep saying tomorrow or next tomorrow. So basically, why do you need permission to start? Take ownership of your journey, which is basically a real definition of who you are, what you stand for, and you, basically. And then we have the Abbas framework, which is basically A, standing for ambition. What is your ambition? What do you aspire to do? What is that thing that keeps igniting you? What is that fire that is burning you? What keeps making you leave your bed every morning? So this helps you in giving your dreams direction. And the B stands for belief. Very important. Now, whatever you do, we have to believe that, especially with the space that we find ourselves, that your faith is very, very much a necessity in your life. I think one of the most important things, if you can look at the entire ecosystem of successful people in the world, you can realize that they cannot talk about success or how they have been able to succeed without adding that faith, God is part of their growth. God is very much a necessity in our lives. So whether we like it or not, your beliefs, your culture, your values, and where you come from shape basically, everything about you and what will help you in the future, wherever you may find yourself as you grow in this life. And then the second B stands for bravery. You have to understand that failing is part of growth. Over time in life, you will experience so many things that will make you want to give up. The idea is that you even wake up and then you don't even find the strength, or you don't even have that zeal again to continue. Or you just feel like, maybe I'm just not meant for this. Maybe this is not meant for me. Maybe I just don't want it anymore. You wake up, there are those days, you can test to this more than I can. And more or less, I believe that everyone almost go through this because of so many issues because basically aspirations and matters always differ based on personalities, and as we as humans, what basically works for me might not be really what works for you. But as time goes on, we know that there are days that you wake up and you feel like you're so overwhelmed to a point where you feel like giving up, or maybe what you're doing doesn't even matter anymore. It happens. It's just a piece and it shall pass. However, how do I even use this word? Basically, how you are able to manage this situation is what will determine how brave you are. So bravery is how you are able to get up after falling down. So basically be willing to fail, because failing is still part of growth. If you don't fail, you will not understand what are basically the loopholes that you have missed so far. So failing and then trying again and then become, and take uncomfortable steps is what actually another thing that will basically help you. Nobody takes comfortable steps and they're where they are. If I had stayed in the comfortable space that I would not be where I am. I had to leave that comfortable space into the uncomfortable space to be what I wanted to be, and to basically access the kind of opportunities I've been able to access, and be in even grand rooms where sometimes I'm even the youngest in the room that is full of great minds, great ideas. And then, sometimes I wonder, how are you able to be here? And then I look back and I wonder, if I hadn't taken that step, if I hadn't been brave enough, would I be here today? No. So basically, bravery is another thing you need to have, and maybe one of the things that will still put you ahead of other people in your same environment. And then the A stands for action, which basically translates to turning ideas into experiments, projects, and results. You need to act. It's not just about, I have this dream, I want to do this, I want to do that, this is who I am, this is what defines me, this is the route I want to take. It's about taking that step towards achieving what you want to achieve. Very much important that action is what determines that you are able to realize whatever it is that you are defined to do, or destined to become. And then the last S stands for service. Service is what translates to what the real impact we're talking about is. Use what you become to make life better for someone else. How is what you are doing benefiting someone else? How is what you are doing benefiting A, B, and C? How is what you are doing impacting the people around you? Because impact is not what you build. Impact is how what you build is able to help someone else. Impact is how what you have done is able to translate to a productive something for someone. So keep that in mind, please. So now the stage 2 basically talks about what would you build? Ambition, belief, bravery, action, and service. Where do you want to be in the next 5 years? What steps can you take this week? We have gone to a lot of interviews, and mostly we know that this is a very concurrent question. Where do you want to be in the next 5 years, or what do you intend to achieve in the next 5 years? So you don't have to, your 5 years doesn't have to translate into 5 years in more essence. You need to understand your 5 years can be tomorrow, next tomorrow, or 1 week. So it's only meant for you to decide how you want to translate your ambition, how you want to achieve whatever goals you have in place. Sorry. And then beliefs basically focus on your story. Basically, what story are you telling yourself about what you can do or can't achieve? And basically, these are guided by your values, discipline, your faiths, and everything you believe in, basically. Besides, if you don't believe in what you want to do, how do you expect other people to believe in what you want to achieve? So it's very much a necessity, very much important that you also actually look at your belief system. And then briefly, like we mentioned, briefly is basically what uncomfortable step are you avoiding that could change everything. So look at your life currently. What is that one uncomfortable thing that you're avoiding? What is that one change that you feel that, once I take this step, everything about the comfortability that I'm facing is going to change? Maybe that is the one thing that is holding you back from taking a step forward or closer to what you intend to achieve in this world, basically. And then the action translates to what is that one thing that you can start within the next 7 days. Now, you see, what I mentioned about, your next 5 days can be translated into the next 1 week or next tomorrow. So what is that one thing, basically, that you can start within the next 7 days? So it can be tomorrow for you. It can be now after this meeting, or it can be even be during this meeting right now. So what is that one thing that you intend to take? And then the service says, who is the one person you can help with what you have already known or what you already have? So very much important. Service, like we mentioned, is what translates to impact. And then this is the route to basically the impact, the global impact you're looking for. Creating your impact is basically saying that impact doesn't require millions of followers or a huge organization. It just starts with one person, one idea, and one action. So it doesn't really necessitate that, oh, I want to reach New York tomorrow, or I want to be known like Zohara and Mandani. You know, Zohara Mandani, for example, didn't start on one day. There are days that he stood on the streets of New York City with his placard raising and trying to caution people, but not a single person stand on the way for him. Who is he today? Today, he is one of the most reputable public figures around the world that is shaping the whole idea and perspective of leadership that we all aspire to create in the world that we live in. And, you know, like I mentioned, he didn't start where he is today. He started one day and then he started with even 0 persons, but because he had to believe in what he believes in, for people to believe in what he wants to do, then it goes both ways. Over time, consistency, moving, and then the discipline to actually keep pushing because he knows what he is after, he knows who he is, and then he is able to achieve whatever it is that he achieved today. So basically, discovery. Basically, under discover, we have identity. You know, identify a small, meaningful opportunity. You know, it can be anywhere in your environment. It can be what you're facing. It can be a situation that you must have seen that nobody's actually seeing, but you feel like you have the potential to actually create a change towards that. So maybe that will basically help you in actually coming up with a solution that can actually, you know, create the impact you so desire to create. And then apart from discover, the next thing on this route is build. Create a simple prototype or plan for yourself. What is that one thing that you want to follow? A step-by-step guide to what you want to follow to be able to help you achieve whatever dream that you want to achieve. And the next thing over that is collaborate. Now, you need to understand that this thing, no matter how gifted you are in this world, no matter the potential that you think you have, you alone cannot change the world. I used to believe that, oh, I'm meant to change the world, but it's not really something that I can do. Yeah, you can imagine the kind of dreams that I'm having. I think that I can change the world, but it's not something that you can do alone. It's not something that you are meant to do alone. You need people of shared values. You need people that have the ideas. You need people that have the same dreams that you aspire to create. You have to engage with people who we call the like-minded people to be able to build the kind of things that you want to build, the solutions you want to bring to the world, to be able to bring them to life. So engage with others to strengthen the effort, to be able to help you achieve whatever dream that you have. And then the last thing is act and serve. Here is where you launch it. You launch the action, and then you support the community. What you are able to create is becoming life. And before you realize it, you look back and realize this is how I started. And today what I'm doing is shaping the future of millions, billions. You can never imagine. You're going global, so you have to think global. That's why I'm necessitating the idea of the global world and using the word world in your essence. So redefining the global impact. Global impact doesn't always start globally. It can begin with one person, like we mentioned, one classroom, one community, one idea, one conversation, then it grows. I remember how many times I've applied for opportunities and I kept getting rejections. And over time, no matter how much I know sometimes it disappoints you. At the same time, it kills your spirit, but you just have to keep going over time. One of the grand things I know is I once applied for an opportunity to travel to Turkey, and then it was a self-funded, and I thought it was my basic. And the people that I thought were going to come through for me to help me because it's self-funded, I don't have the money to, they didn't come through for me. And I started blaming those people. But then I didn't even think about it that, would I be selfish to blame those people? Because it's in their right to decide whether they want to help me or not. But then over time, I didn't think about that because then I only blame them, not understanding that these things are meant to happen, but it's still part of growth. And they have the right to decide whether they want to help me or not, because whether I believe they can do it or not, it's still just me, but it's still at the end of the day on them to do that. And over time, I remember that last rejection because I was not able to make it because I was selected for that particular opportunity, but then it's self-funded and I wasn't able to get it. I blamed myself for it, and I blamed the people who were not able to help me over it. And then over time, a friend of mine said something that really stuck with me till today, that, hey, if it is meant for you, it will be for you. And then that was the only thing that I knew calmed me down. And I started to realize that maybe I was overreacting over that matter. I think 2 days later, I got an email for an invitation to attend my first ever global opportunity, which is basically Youth Connect Sahel. Youth Connect Sahel was hosted in Senegal in the year 2021, which was my first trip ever. Now, maybe discussing how I was able to even make that trip will be another discussion for another day, but it's really, really required a lot, basically to be able to travel there, because by the time that email came to me, it came on a Thursday and I was required to travel on a Sunday. And then I didn't even have the passport to actually travel for that. And then that came the whole hassle to travel for it. At the end of the day, no matter how much, because at the end of the day, they were not able to give me a passport that would help me travel because my passport had an issue and stuff like that. I almost gave up only for them to come up at the end of the day and told me that, oh, I can actually travel with an official passport, ECOWAS passport, which was basically created. That was the first time I knew that there is another passport, African passport, I can use in traveling to all African countries without having to worry about my own passport that you can use, which is even more way cheaper than the more passport that you can use. So that passport was called the ECOWAS passport, which is basically an official passport for Africans to travel across Africa with that specific passport. That passport was able to be created for me in 1 hour on a Friday. And then I was able to use it. Before you know it, Sunday clicked and I left Nigeria. And that was the beginning of my dreams coming true reality. That trip was basically like the trigger, I would say. And I'm going to take you there because more or less are the opportunities. Maybe I'm running out of time, please. Sorry. So let me just. So basically, local relevance. Your context is not your limitation. It can become the source of your innovations. And then your authentic parts, you don't need to copy someone else's journey to become globally relevant. And I think the last speaker also mentioned about this. You don't look at someone's first opportunity. You don't think about, oh, I want to be like this person, or I want to do things this way this person did. Because it worked for me doesn't really necessitate that the way I followed is going to work for you that exact way. We are each defined in our own different, skills and dexterity. We are all meant for something different. We are all meant to, do something pretty much different. Every single one of us has a story to tell, and we all have our path to take, our journey to create, and then our destinations at the same time. So basically, maybe what might likely take me so amount of time to be able to achieve might not really necessarily take you, or might it will take you forever. It depends basically. And then organic growth. Like I mentioned, small, consistent organic steps, basically actions, compound into movements that reach far beyond where they began. I know if you're not familiar with the book Atomic Habits, it's very much important that kind of a book that you're able to read, because it helps you compound and understand how little steps compound into actions and become, what you never even expected, because the more steps you compound, the more it's becoming what you never expected to become. Smaller atoms become one big atom that, can actually shape the world. And you never even imagine how they're able to do that in more essence. So giving an example or context of what the slide we just left, which was basically discussing about, it can be classroom, it can be, it can be a classroom, one community, one idea, one conversation. Now, this will give you a bit of understanding basically what is that trying to translate to you. You don't need a global platform like we mentioned. All you need is a starting point. For some people, they started in their classes, a student, and then started a reading club that becomes a literacy movement. Or you're a programmer, you're deep into tech, you have so much ideas in tech, and basically you build an app that solves a local problem. What app do you think you can build that will solve a local problem? You don't have to build an app. And this is trying to make you understand that you don't have to build up like everybody's building. You don't have to create an AI like everyone is building. Your change or your dream might likely be something else. You might be the first person to create something far more different, a turning point for Africa, a turning point that can shape the entire ecosystem of Africa. Because at the point of we're not the creators of AI, we're not the creators of tech in more essence, but what is that one thing that you can help create, that will shape the entire future of Africa? That will be something that the global world, Western world, will want to also adopt into their own ecosystem. And at the same time, that will be something that you have created, and that will be something like an impact that have helped you shape Africa the entire different way. And then you could be a farmer who introduces a better practice that fits more families, who introduces a better farm that's more healthier for everyone in the community, that is more healthier for the entire world, because of the way we can understand the systems and the health systems that we have today. Is basically tied to the kind of food that we eat in more essence. So maybe you could be a farmer that may basically solve that issue. Who knows? And then, likelihood, you can be a filmmaker who tells stories that change how people see the entire world. That might likely bring new, fresh perspectives of things that people likely never even thought about. But then these are things that we may have needed to be able to see through the world that we live in today. So, and the last part is where dreams meet opportunity. At some point, I don't know what you think about dreams, but I have a specific philosophy about dreams, and I will tell it to you today. Your unique aspirations are not just fantasies. They are blueprints for a future you can actively build. The world is full of challenges because, basically everything you want to aspire wasn't meant to be easy, because if it was easy, another person would have done it already. Everyone would have done it already. It was meant to be that hard, so you alone will be able to achieve it. And if on the way, you turn out to forget, or you turn out to just want to give up, or you turn out to just likely get distracted, then it will just pretty much somebody will come and overtake you, and then be able to come and realize it before you're able to, in more essence. But also countless opportunities for this ready to apply, for those ready to apply their self-discoveries and development space will be open for you. These opportunities will be wide open for you. It's about finding the intersection of what you love and what you're good at and what the world needs. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And I'll tell you something about dreams, right? That's basically the philosophy of what I believe dream to be. I have this belief. Dreams knock at your door because they believe in you. It's not you that have a dream. It's the dream that chose you. And if the dream chose you and you're not able to act on it, and the slightest opportunity it comes to you, it might likely move to the next door. And that is the more reason, because I'm pretty sure you must have realized that there are certain dreams that you have, and then before you know it, you see it somewhere else. You see someone experience it. You see someone becomes it. And then you wonder, how is this thing that you felt like was only meant for you, someone else is living it, someone elsewhere, in probably much miles away, millions and thousands of miles away. And this is it. Dreams choose you. And if you're not able to act on them, they might likely move to the next door. And the same thing with opportunities. This you are sure of. So I want you to understand that there's basically very much a very thin line between dreams and opportunities. Dreams comes to you, and the opportunities when you act on them. The moment you act on them, they become yours and they stick to you until you are able to realize them. The moment you let go of them is the moment someone else is going to pick up that dream and is going to realize them. So basically, your dreams comes to you. You're not the one that owns them. They own you. They choose you. So it's left for you to bring life to those dreams. They may choose you, but it's you, and you have this decision to actually give life to those dreams. Only you and you alone. So like I mentioned, my framework, which is basically the Abbas effect, is basically not just a story about me. It's a framework for me and something that I have used so far in shaping my ideologies, how I intend to go through my life. Because every single day that I wake up, just hearing someone call me Abbas is something that just ignites that dream in me. It's something that makes me know that, this is basically, it's almost like a reminder every single day that you have something that grounds you. You have something that you're aspiring to achieve. Even if at least I'm distracted for a little bit, I know this is actually something that's bringing me back to whatever it is that I want to achieve in this life. So remember, Ali stands for audacity, learning, identity, the environment you live in, and you specifically. And then Abbas stands for ambition, belief, bravery, action, and service. Now, for you, it can be something else. For example, it's Stena, it's Uju, it can be anything that you decide that reminds you every single day of who you are, what you aim to achieve, and the impact you want to make in the global world. Find yourself, build yourself, believe in yourself, use what you have, start where you are, serve beyond yourself, and let your impact grow. Now, impact doesn't really translate to something that happens overnight. It's the compoundment of the things you have been doing over time that becomes the impact that you create. So you have to be able to start where you are, build from what you have, and then over time, because sometimes you are even forgetting something. It can be something that you feel it's nothing. It can be from something that you feel like it's nothing for you, but it can be maybe a solution that the world actually needs. As crazy as it may seem, something that you have or you see as nothing to you might likely be the solution that the entire world is looking for. But you never know, because you're looking down on the potential that God has given you, which may likely be the gifts that you have. And I think I will just end here with telling you that you are beyond who you are meant for more, and you are meant to build great things. But it only happens if you believe in yourself and your ability to achieve those things. And then you'll be able to create the impact and have the global imprint that you aspire to do. You have to dream way beyond yourself. You have to have the audacity to do that. Thank you.
Oh, that was really, 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 really amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Aliu. Thank you to all our speakers.
Thank you.
I mean, the Aliu framework, your part, everything you just said now really resonates with all of us. Thank you so much for blessing us.
Okay.
Thank you so much for making us understand that we need to discover who we are first. And we should not be shaped by what we see, but we should know what we want, understand how we are going to go about it. Thank you so much, sir. So, everybody, let's just keep bringing up the emojis. Let's thank our speakers, Mr. Onoc, Ms. Raquel, and Mr. Ali. They've all spoken so well. Thank you so much. So this is time for Q&A. If you have a question you would like to ask any of the speakers, please just raise up your hand so we can quickly do that now. Or you can just leave it in the chat box. If you have a question, please do well to raise your hands up now. Anybody with questions, I'm looking at the chat as well. If you have a question, please do well to ask. We don't have questions. Anybody with question? Winnie, Hembafan, we have questions about volunteering. Want to ask them personal questions? Please do well to raise your hands up now so we can do that quickly and move on. Are we together? Can you hear me? All right. So if you have any question, please, you can unmute. If you cannot unmute yourself, just do well to drop in the chat box. I've given just 5 minutes so we can quickly do that. Just maybe 2 questions or 1 question for each speaker. Anybody with question, please, let's go ahead. Okay. All right, thank you so much, everyone. So okay, there's a hand up. Okay, Winnie has a question. All right, you can just go ahead on mute and speak, Winnie. And then please let's know who exactly you are directing your question to. Thank you. You can go ahead, Winnie.
Okay, good afternoon or good evening rather. Thank you so much to all the speakers. My question would directly be to Mr. Onoc.
Okay.
Yes, I could definitely. So my question is, I would ask him personally as for me, who is a graduate of environmental management, who has actually loved to do something that has to do with the environment also. He said a lot about how we have to broaden our mindset, be versatile in our reading, and getting to know more things, not just to be confined to what we know. So, what are the ways that he could advise me personally, or what are the volunteering organizations I can find myself around to be able to my lecturer will call it make a local impact to have a global impact, so something like that.
Okay, sir, you are muted. Mr. Anoche, you are muted.
Thanks very much. Winifred, so just to be clear, you said you studied environmental.
Yes, I studied environmental management and toxicology.
Oh, okay. So you're not asking what can you do differently or what field can you go into?
Yes, what because I have been looking out for personally. I've always wanted to maybe volunteer in aspect of the environment, but I haven't yet found my way around that yet. So that will be an opportunity I would love to pursue.
Okay. So just to ask, the environmental management thing, is it something you've always wanted to do from the get-go? Or do you want to pivot or you want to stick to it?
I want to stick to it and something else that revolves around it. It wasn't something I loved from the onset, but for when I started, I did the course and I fell in love with it. So I want to stick to it.
Wow, that's a tough one to answer. For me, I think it depends on interest. So, for example, are there like groups, just like they have project management groups or PMP, something like that. So are there like communities of practice of environmentalists? So I think that would be a good place to start. Maybe I'll go to LinkedIn and then start looking for people that have this kind of environmental groups. I'll look for it on LinkedIn. I think that'll be the first thing I'm going to do. Excuse me. Then I'll also look for what other thing is emerging in the field of the environment. Are there newer tools, newer technologies? Can I use AI to simplify a process? If I'm able to, can I talk to somebody in that community of practice that can also tell me, okay, how can I apply what I've learned in the industry? Is there industry relevance for what I've studied? But these are some of the questions I asked myself when I was leaving school and getting job ready. I knew that physiology, what am I going to do like in industry? Right? What is the pay like? I asked myself a lot of questions. And it was based on that conversation. I said, let me dovetail into project management let me dovetail into mail because it was evolving with the NGO space and all of that. So I took a lot of things into consideration. But I think for me, for a start, I'll think, okay, is there a community of practice? Who can I talk to in the industry that has more experience than me? How can I apply my knowledge in the industry after speaking with that person? So I think those are the first things. I also asked the person, okay, what gaps are existing in this space? Then how do I apply myself with current technologies, to fill that gap? Do I need to learn something more? Do I need to learn something else on, maybe check the United Nations environmental program, look at the profiles of those people there, follow them on LinkedIn, and all of that. And then explore what opportunities are available, whether locally, within Africa, internationally. And then, yeah, I think that would be my best feedback, and I hope it helps. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anoche. Hope you got your response, Winifred.
Yes, I did.
And Winifred, I also think, just to quickly add, I also think that you can start applying yourself. Like, I know that there are a lot of environmental issues. I know I've done a project with SDN, Stakeholder Development Network. I know there are a lot of things you can write about concerning the environment. Start putting out blogs, and all of that. Start applying yourself, those are the things that readily come to mind. But I mean, Abbas can, share some insights as well. His hand is up. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Abbas, you can go now, please.
Okay, thank you. I think I just wanted to say something, and then Mr. Ojo also just chip in on that a little bit, but I'll still share regardless. So yeah, I think one of the things that you can actually do is basically immerse yourself with shared like-minded people. It can be exploring opportunities in organizations and like the UN, and other NGOs that are basically working towards that. You don't have to go looking for a job at first. It's not always about getting a job at first. You can just start by volunteering. See, volunteering is very much key. I can't emphasize enough about the volunteering. Most of the times, the opportunities you're looking for begins when you volunteer. By volunteering, that's when you allow yourself to be discovered. And at the same time, a lot of times people you apply for jobs and then they're like, we're looking for someone who's just so experienced with 5 years experience, 6 years. Let me tell you a secret. The experience you're looking for is in the kind of jobs you volunteer to. Over those jobs you are doing, you are building experiences every time you do those things. And then, yeah, immerse yourself, like Mr. Oju mentioned, immerse yourself in learning courses. There are a lot of bunch of courses out there that relates to your kind of course. Environmental management is a thing right now in the global space. Every single place you look at, everybody's talking about environmental issues. So you can be the source, like I mentioned, you can be the source to a solution to a problem in your community, in a different community where nobody has seen it. I don't know if you've heard of somebody called, what they call his name? Sorry, Hamzi Code. Hamzi Code is quite really popular when it comes to environmental issues because that's one of the major things that's made him popular. Hamzi Code was a normal street Lagos boy at first, always going around with his laptop from workstation to workstation before he heard about a particular place that was having environmental issues. Now, I just want you to draw inspiration from this, that maybe you can look at it in a different manner. And then he went all the way to be the first sort of person that was able to draw attention, global attention specifically to that environment and how that community has been affected by environmental issues and how he was able to, come up with solutions and drive people that are working towards the solution, basically. Because he doesn't study, he doesn't know how to go about it, but what he does is just create the exposure and then bring people that are working towards the environmental issues to come there and provide the help. And then before you know it, Hamzi Code is who he is today and, driving impact solution across different things. So it can be anything. So do what you can, and just engage yourself, create the networks, be a part of all these events that has to do with environmental issues, meet people, engage with people, have like-minded people, volunteer for so many things. And along the line, you may likely be sure and be able to discover what you really want to do with the skill that you have. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abbas. Thank you so much. Ma'am Raquel, do you have anything to say about this question? I think it's about volunteering as well. I believe you have one or two to share with that. So if you do, please, you can just go ahead, ma'am.
No, I listened to the comments already. I think they're extensive, really, really extensive. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you so much. Does anybody else?
Winifred, yeah. So Winifred, I'm dropping the website for United Nations Environmental Program. So this is what I did early in my career when I got interested in M&E. So I was like, okay, I went to the UN evaluation group, just to have a sense of, okay, all these people self that they put in their bios, how do I reach where they are and what they're doing? So I'm putting the United Nations UNEP, just to have a sense of the site, what they do. I know that some of these UN platforms, they have courses. So, and what the conversation is going to look for some of those platforms that I leveraged and shared with you, because if you look at it, everybody that's graduated from your program who has a BSc in environmental management, but what stands you out in an interview? So that's what you should be thinking about now. So I'll just look for some of those platforms, that's helped me, or still currently helps me in the work that I do, and I'll drop the link. But I think to explore the UNEP first, and yeah, and I'll see what I can share with you before the session ends.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else with a question, please, so we can quickly close. If you have a question, please just go ahead. Winnie, your hand is still up. Do you have another question, Winnie? Okay. Anybody else with a question, so we can just go ahead and close. And while we wait for that, there's a feedback link in the chat box for you. If you have any question you think you want to ask aside now, just do well to drop that so that we can attend to it. You can always send to our speakers and they respond, and we'll send it back to you. So please, if you have questions, use the feedback link. Maybe you're not sure if your question is going to be correct or not, just drop it on the feedback link and we'll take it up from there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. And once again, do we have questions so that we can finish up for today? Anybody with question? Okay, I'll take it as a no. So thank you so much to our facilitators. Thank you so much for taking your time to pour into us, to teach us what we can do about self-discovery. Mr. Ali spoke about how we can make impact. We have to discover ourselves. We have to build. We have to collaborate. My boss will always say, our founder will always say, collaboration is the new competition. So it is important that as young people, that we don't just build alone. While you're building, you can try to see someone else that is of like mind, work with them, and before you know it, you've gone really far in life. And then becoming someone of great impact starts from somewhere. You have to serve, you have to continue learning, like Ms. Raquel said, and like Mr. Onoc said, you have to volunteer, you have to serve, you have to own whatever you are doing, and you also need to continue learning. So it's important that we don't just sit down and expect things to come, but that we try our best to ensure that we are able to receive the fame that we are looking for. Thank you once again so much. Thank you everybody for staying through until the end of this. We really appreciate you. Please, if people are still here, just keep sending out your emojis. Tell us our speakers thank you on the chat box. Use the emojis. Please, they've done really amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This has really been insightful. Thank you so much. Thank you to our team members too who are here. CEO could not make it, our founder, because he's in a meeting as well right now. So we thank everybody for joining us once again, and we look forward to chatting with you next time. Thank you once again so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much to our speakers. We'll let them go first before we leave. Thank you, Mr. Ali. Thank you, Mama Raquel. Thank you, Mr. Onoc. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So you can leave now so we can leave as well. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for staying. We really appreciate you. You can get this recording on our YouTube channel. We'll share across to everyone on our platform as well. So do well to follow on Instagram. Do well to check us out and see what we are doing. And also you can volunteer with us, of course. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much once again. And please use the feedback form. Thank you, everybody. See you next time. Enjoy your weekend. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.